Alright YouTube, what's going on? I'm making this video to show how to use GitHub, git-bash, and how you can send like a local file or project you have to your online repository on github.com. Now I'm on the Windows PC, so those who are Windows users are going to have to install git-bash or git-shell, and that's just the terminal that you need to run the commands. Now if you're on the Mac or Linux, you won't really need to do this because their terminal has the same commands as Git, so you don't have to really install Git on a Linux or Mac. But for Windows, you need this in order to run the commands because the command prompt doesn't have the same commands. So the first thing I do is I go to git.com, I log in, and then what I'm going to do is create a new repository. And I'm going to call it Udacity Project 1, create, and now it gave me a link to this repository. Now the next thing I do is, for those who actually just installed Git, what you have to do is configure your username and email so you won't have to keep doing it over and over again. And you do that by git config -- global user.name, and then you would put your name. And then to configure your email would be the same exact code except user.email, and then you put in your email, and then Git would save it so you won't have to use it every time when you're working with Git. Now the first thing that I do is I decide which folder I'm going to put to that repo online. You have a local repository and then you have an online repository. I want to get my local repository online. So I decide which project I'm going to put online. Here's an example. I open the code, and here's my website I want to put online. Now the first thing you have to do is connect to this folder. So you can actually use pwd, present working directory, and it'll show you where you're connected. I'm not connected anywhere, so that's why all you see is a slash. Now I'm currently on my F drive. So what you're going to do is cd, which is change directory, slash whatever letter drive you're working with or whichever you want to access, and then you start navigating. So you see how there's F, and then there's users, and then desktop and so forth. You would use users - Ryan, I'm using Ryan, and then desktop, and then on my desktop I want to connect to this framework folder, so then I'll just type in framework. Now you can see Git is now connected to that folder, and once I connect to that folder, I want to make this into a local repository. So you do that by running git init, which stands for initiate, and that's going to create a local repository for that folder. So you hit enter, and you can see it popped up. There's a new local repository. So then now you can start running Git functions. Well, actually, if you just type in Git, there's a list of commands, so it can give you a quick guide if you're kind of lost. But once you're connected to that folder, I want to do git status. And here are files that it sees in here, but they're not being tracked. So now I want to use git add -- all. And this is going to add all the files in that folder into that local repository. So you hit enter, it adds the files. Now we run git status. Git status is just to check what's going on. When I run git status, you can see new file, new file, new file. They're in the local repository right now. Now once it's in there, you would run git commit, which is adding a load of message to the files, -- message, and then whatever message you want to add. I'm going to put first - code, and now all of the files have that git commit attached to it. Now, once you have added all your files to that repository, you're going to need to push it online. But before you push it, you have to connect to that online repository, and you do that by running git remote add, and then the name of that online repository. So it's going to be this right here, Udacity Project 1. So Udacity project 1, and then you would put in the link that it gave you, and that's how you're going to connect to that online repository. So https://github.com, and your username, and then the name of that project, and then .git. Now, once you finish, it connects to it, and then once you connect to the online repository, you use git push. You will push it from your local repository to your online repository, and then the name of that project. And then you will see a lot of coding here. What's more important, that you just run this last command right here, and that's what's actually going to push the local repository to your online one. So git push --set -upstream, and then the name of the project, and then master. Right now it's going to authenticate, so using your username and then your password, and now it's pushing the files to your online repository, and then it's finished when you can start coding again. So then now, once you have this screen, this is if there's no files in this repository, this is empty. Once you finish pushing online, if you refresh it, you can see all your code is now in your repository. You can see I have my HTML file and CSS files, and you can even see the Git Commit message, which is first code. And that's pretty much how you can put local repositories from any folder. If you have a project, you would just create a repo online, and then you would run through the commands, connect to the repo, push it, and then you can see your files pop up in that repo. And then you can clone it to your desktop. That's if you're using GitHub desktop, or you can just run git pull. So instead of pushing to online repository from local to online, you can pull, which is online to local. And then you can just code, make the differences, and then push it back to your repository. And that's the grand scheme of Git. It's a version control used to modify changes in a document, and it makes it easier to pinpoint who made what change in what document and where. It actually makes things easy. So hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, and get coding.